Welcome back to another LS Swap Tech Tip from Bad Luck Garage. And today I'm going to show you how to bolt an old school transmission to your new LS engine. Okay guys, we're going to get into the flex plates here in just a second, but before we do that, I want to go over the different bolt patterns on the back of an LS engine versus your classic small block, big block Chevrolet bolt pattern, and you know, what bolts are going to be missing, what bolts are going to be there. We're going to cover that first. Okay guys, so if you're watching on a phone, this might be a little hard to see. Hopefully you can zoom in and see, but so here's the deal guys. Here is your transmission bell housing, and I'm not an artist, so just bear with me, but basically this is your transmission bell housing right here, you know, and you got your torque converter in the middle here. That doesn't matter. Now on a traditional small block Chevrolet, you've got your dowel pin holes right here on either side. All right, so the blue is your dowel pin. And then in the red, you've got a hole here, 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 and here. All right. So those are your 6 bolt holes on a traditional small block Chevy, big block Chevy, what have you. Okay. So your old school turbo 350s, 700 R4s, 200 metric or 200 4Rs. Your turbo 400s and your power glides, they are all going to have this bolt pattern in the housing. Okay, so now when we're talking about your LS engine, and we'll do this one in green, your LS engine also uses this hole, this hole, this hole, and this hole. Up here on the passenger side, well, we're looking at this. Yeah, just imagine this is the front of the transmission, guys. This is not the back of the engine. This is the front of the transmission. On the LS engine, there's no hole right here, okay? So you're not going to be able to put a bolt in there. There's actually, I think, a oil passage there that's blocked off on the back of the LS engine. So you're down 1 bolt hole, and you're using this hole. That hole is there on the driver's side. But since there's not a bolt hole here for the 6th bolt, on the LS engine, you've got another bolt hole up here. All right, dead center, right up top. Now on a more modern transmission, and I'm going to use the green again to denote the more modern transmission, you know, on a 4L80 or a 4L60E, the newer variety, you know, it's got what looks like the same pattern. I know it looks more like a house than a bell housing, but again, bear with me. You've still got your big dowels right here, your holes for that. And you've got all these holes, just like you do on your traditional turbo 350, 400, 700 R4, Power Glide. You've still got all those holes. But the more modern transmissions, the modern variants like 99 and up 4L80s and 4L60Es, they add this bolt hole up here to coincide with the bolt hole at the top dead center of the LS engine. So what you're left with here, so what happens is when you go to bolt your turbo 350 up to your newer LS engine, you're not going to have a bolt here because the turbo 350 doesn't have it. And you're not going to have a bolt here on the top passenger side corner, you know, because the LS engine doesn't have it. So you're left with 5 bolts. All right. A lot of people think this is a problem. It's not a problem, guys. There are guys running turbo 400s and Power Glides with 4 freaking bolt holes, you know, behind 4-digit horsepower engines every freaking day. 5 bolts isn't a problem. Now, what is a problem, and I actually ran in this today with one of my buddies online. He was showing me a picture of his Blazer, and I'll go ahead and say it's Scotty Ham, the owner of Shitbox Nation. He was showing me a picture today, and he was showing me how he was, you know, how he was painting his engine bay and stuff, and he was getting ready to swap over to an LS engine. And I noticed his transmission had a big hump gone out of it right here. like his bell housing was broke off right there, and he was trying to show me his engine bay, and I was like, Scotty, where's your bell housing, man? This could be a problem, guys, because at this point, you've only got one bolt on this side that's providing any kind of structural integrity, you know, for bolting that bell housing. And what's most likely going to happen in a case like this is you're going to end up snapping this off. Like, it's, you know, you put any kind of power through it, it's going to snap it off. But again, as long as you've got, you know, you've got these guys here, and you got your dowel here and your bolt hole here, you know, don't even worry about this guy, and don't even worry about this guy. You know, this is perfectly fine to run. I just wanted to cover that before we get into the whole flex plate torque converter thing, so you guys would kind of understand what bolts are going to be missing. You know, it's perfectly normal. Like I said, people do it every day. These things hold up just fine with only 5 bolts in them. Let's talk about flex plates. This seems to be an area of, well, this is the main area of concern that I see on the internet on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, I was just on a page today, and that's what kind of prompted me to make this video. You know, there were just a lot of people throwing out a lot of confusing information, so I want to try to clear this up, okay? On the right, we have the common flex plate that you see in front of a 4L60 or 4L65 transmission. As you can see, it has a dish to it. It's concave, okay? The side that bulges out gets bolted to the engine. You know, the center part is sunk in. That side faces the transmission, okay? So your torque converter would bolt to this side here that's sunk in the middle. And again, that is a 4L60E or 4L70 flex plate. Guys, this is not a 5.3 or 4.8 flex plate, and that's where a lot of confusion comes from, okay? This same flex plate can be found behind 6 liters in things like Escalades. You know, if it's all-wheel drive, this is going to be in an Escalade or a Denali or something like that, guys. This is not a, I want to say it one more time, this is not a 5.3 liter flex plate. This is a 4L60 flex plate, okay? That's going to be very important. We'll cover it in a minute. This flex plate is the flex plate that you will most commonly find in front of a 4L80E transmission. This is not a 6.0 flex plate. This is a 4L80E flex plate. This can also be found behind a 4.8 liter in things like express vans that came with a 4L80E. That's why we do not refer to this as a 6 liter flex plate, because it came behind other things. When you start calling it a 6.0 flex plate, it confuses people, okay? This is the flex plate that would come in front of a 4L80E in almost any application. And what you're going to notice is this flex plate is flat. It is not concave like our 4L60E flex plate over here. This guy's actually flat, and it's actually made a lot more heavy duty. You'll notice there is a lot of material missing from here, and this flex plate is a little bit lighter too, the one that goes in front of the 4L60. The 4L80 flex plate is a beefier unit. You can also see the way the ring gear goes on. It's kind of like, I don't know what it's called, like fission or pressure fit or something on the 4L60 flex plate. Whereas on the 4L80 flex plate, you know, there's a series of heavy duty welds going around it. Guys, this is just a more beefy flex plate all the way around. Now, what you're also going to notice about the 4L80E flex plate here is it has this little spacer here. This spacer is meant to space the flex plate out away from the crankshaft. And if you look at our concave flex plate here, look at that. They're the exact same height, okay? So the flat flex plate from the 4L80E and the concave flex plate from the 4L60E, with this spacer in here, they stick out the same amount, okay? Like they're, you know, same depth, guys. That's what this spacer here does. It adapts this out to the same depth. Now, which one of these is going to allow you to bolt your Turbo 350, 400, or POWERGLIDE converter to it? That's what you guys are all wanting to know, right? Well, I'm going to tell you, you can bolt it to either one of these. That one requires more work and is not built as well as the 4L80 flex plate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you first what it takes to bolt a 4L80E flex plate with this adapter up to a Turbo 400 / Turbo 350 torque converter. The little spacer adapter here, it goes toward the engine. You take your torque converter, you center it in the hole there, you slide it around till the bolt holes line up. You're gonna have 3 bolt holes on most aftermarket converters, and you put your freaking bolts and your nuts in. You're done. That's it, guys. It's literally that easy. It's done. You do want to check your clearances. You may want to put a washer here to shim it or something like that. I'm not covering all that in this video. That's not what this video is about. But the bolt holes line up perfectly. You've got a fairly heavy duty flex plate here. The snout on the bottom of the torque converter is going to fit perfect and snugly within this little spacer adapter here. And you're good to go on about your business. You're done. Now I'm going to go over what it takes to bolt your Turbo 350 / 400 / POWERGLIDE, whatever, torque converter up to a factory 4L60 flywheel such as this. First thing you're going to notice is this. Your alignment hub here is way too small for the 4L60E flex plate. That's the first problem, okay? So here's the deal, guys. You can actually get an adapter. I believe it's only about $10 or $15. A lot of people sell them on eBay. My go-to place for anything aluminum like that is LSX Innovations, and I will put a link to that adapter in the video description. You can buy an adapter that goes into this hole here, and it spaces out, and it catches the snout on your torque converter here and aligns it, okay? So that's not a big deal in itself. The big deal comes when you try to bolt the flex plate down. So here's the problem, guys. The 4L60E flex plate is a completely different bolt pattern than a Turbo 350, Turbo 400, or 4L80E. So what's going on here, guys, is your TH400 and your 4L80E, they both have an 11.5 inch bolt pattern, okay? That's what makes the 4L80E flex plate perfect for this swap, okay? That 11.5 inch bolt pattern. A Turbo 350, it uses a, what is that, 10 point, I think it's a 10.75. Yeah, it's 10.75 inch bolt pattern. That's not a big deal, guys, because most of your aftermarket converters are dual pattern. They have an 11.5 and they have a 10.75 inch pattern, and you can probably see it on that converter that I'm using over there. It's actually got 2 sets of holes on every finger, okay? What they do not come with is a 4L60 bolt pattern, or 4L60E, I gotta specify that, which is, I think, 11.08 inch. I believe that's right. You guys can fact check me on that, but I believe it's like 11.08. All right, so that's what you're seeing over there. The bolt pattern's not going to line up. All right, it doesn't matter what old school transmission you buy. This 4L60E flex plate, the bolt holes are not gonna they're not gonna line up, guys. That's the bottom line. They're just not. Bearing that in mind, you can still use it, okay? You've already got your adapter, which I can't show you because, I mean, quite frankly, I don't like doing it this way, guys. You know, I would rather use the 4L80E flex plate. They're only about $50. I'll put a link to, to where to get one in the video description. But what you can do, if you see these holes don't line up, what you can do is, you can Dremel out or carve out or drill out or whatever. You have to oblong all the holes here in order to be able to bolt the Turbo 350 or 400, the 11.5 inch bolt pattern to this 4L60E flex plate. That's fine if you want to do that, guys, but keep in mind, after you buy your spacer and after you hog out all these holes, you're still left with a flex plate that is not as heavy duty as the 4L80E flex plate that you could have just bought and not had to do any of that work to. And again, you know, it just bolts right on, guys. It slips on, bolts on. You can see everything lines up perfectly. All 3 holes lined up perfectly. I haven't modified this flex plate at all. So that's my recommendation, guys. You can use this 4L60E flex plate if you want to, but you're going to have to modify it and buy your little adapter. And it's not going to be as heavy duty. You know, there's a lot of material cut out of this, and it doesn't feel as thick, guys. It doesn't feel as substantial. It also doesn't have the welds around the ring gear or anything like these 4L80 plates do. So my suggestion is just get a 4L80 plate, guys. Do it that way if you want to. You know, if you're on the cheap, you just want to buy that $15 adapter. But, you know, if you can spare $50 for this flex plate, that's the way to go. Okay, now I'm going to throw this last bit in here because inevitably somebody's going to completely ignore everything that I just said about putting links for these parts in the description, and they're going to be like, hey man, what did these come in? You know, where can I get one of those 4L80E flex plates? You know, because there's not a link in the description or anything, right? So that's where we have to make a little distinction, all right? Generally, you're going to find these flex plates in this exact flex plate with the spacer and everything. You're going to find them in like 2001 through I think all the way up to maybe 2008. I don't remember when they switched. It might be 2009. I don't remember when they switched the HD series trucks over to the 6-speed, but any 2500 or 3500 series Chevy truck within these years, you're going to find that flex plate in. So if you go to your parts store, you can say, hey, I need a flex plate for a 2003, it doesn't matter, guys, just say a 2003 Silverado 2500 HD, and they're going to say what engine, and you're going to say the 6-liter, and that's going to have the 4L80E behind it, okay? You can also find these in the Chevy Express vans that had either the 6-liter or the 4.8. Remember, that's why we don't call this a 6-liter flex plate, because it could also be behind a 4.8. All right? So any of the Express vans that had the 6-liter or the 4.8, they usually had the 4L80E transmission in them, and, you know, came with that flex plate. What you want to avoid, like the plague, this goes for the engine and the transmission too, avoid the 99 through 2000 HD trucks. Okay, the reason you're avoiding those is because the 6-liters that came in the 99 and 2000 HD trucks, they actually had an extended crank flange, so they will not have that spacer. It'll be the same flex plate, a flat flex plate, but it won't have that spacer, and you know that spacer is needed to work with the Turbo 350, 400, or POWERGLIDE, okay? So avoid the 99 through 2000 HDs. As far as I'm concerned, avoid these fucking trucks altogether, guys. I mean, the 6-liters that came in these trucks had iron heads too. You don't want none of that. Just avoid these altogether when you're looking for these parts. My suggestion, like I've already said, is just click on the link in the description of this video. If you want to order one of these, you can order it on eBay. You can order it from Summit Racing. They're about $50. They usually come with the flex plate, the spacer, and new flex plate bolts. So that's really the way to go on this. So there it is, guys. In a nutshell, that's how you bolt a Turbo 350, 400, you know, whatever old school Chevy transmission up to the back of your LS engine. You can use either flex plate using the methods that I've just shown you. Like I said, I recommend using the 4L80E flex plate. It's just a heavier duty unit. You don't have to modify it. It bolts right in, no problem. I hope this video helped you out. If it did help you out, go check out the rest of the LS Swap tips and tricks playlist here on the Bad Luck Garage YouTube channel for some more, well, tips and tricks. Click that thumbs up button. Share this with a friend if you think it can help them. As always, thanks for watching. Now get out in the garage, get something done, and I'll see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage.